Hi there, I'm Jason Buck. I work with Remax Estate Properties, and today I thought it'd be really interesting if we discussed how you can make changes to a home that's in Palos Verdes or anywhere, but specifically Palos Verdes. And I brought a friend of mine, Joe Spierer from Joe Spierer Architects here, and we're going to try and talk about what is key to architecture in Palos Verdes, and what do we do to make some changes. But let's start off with, let's hear a little bit about your business. How long have you been doing this?
Well, my practice has been around since the year 2010, and we have been focusing mostly on high-end custom single-family residential architecture. About 90% of what we do is that, and we have some commercial and institutional, but me and my 9 architects, that's what we focus on. So, and then we of course do everything in 3D now at this point. So all of our presentations are live walkthroughs in 3 dimensions. It's a lot of fun.
That's really cool. Is that AutoCAD?
So it's actually Revit, and then we use a different software called Enscape that does our kind of 3D walkthrough. It's like a 3D video game.
So if I had a vision about a home and I told it to you, you'd be able to draw it and then show it to me?
Well, and we could even put virtual reality goggles on you. You could walk through
No
the
way.
house.
I've never
100%.
heard that before. That's pretty incredible. I actually want to try it out. Just out of, what do you spend when you do that kind of thing? I mean, what's a buyer going to spend if they're...
So typically when we're designing a home, a remodel, addition, or a new home, you basically have to budget about 10 to 15% of the construction cost for soft costs. So that includes architect, engineers, structural, civil, soils, Title 24 engineering, landscape architect, and then some city fees. So those are the soft costs. So it's anywhere from 10 to 15% is what I usually recommend.
And so is there such thing as $1 per square foot in a remodel basis?
$1 per square foot. Well, so some architects charge on $1 per square foot. So basically, an architect could charge anywhere from $20 to $40 per square foot, depending on the level of service and depending on what they're offering. And our office is somewhere in that range, again, depending on what types of services our clients want to purchase.
And in the construction world that I understand, if the person doesn't really know what kind of material they want and so forth, and there's a learning process, then obviously that number goes up a little bit.
No question. And I think one of the biggest surprises is just that construction costs have gone up so much.
Material,
and even labor is through the roof at the moment because everyone is designing and everyone's building.
Wow. And so, out of curiosity, are more of your projects ground up, or are they remodels, or are they actually fresh, raw dirt?
Honestly, it's 50-50. About half of our projects are brand new homes, but the other half are additions and remodels.
Okay. I want to focus on additions and remodels because I sell real estate. That means I usually want to sell a house that's there. I can't sell land, but oftentimes it's going to be a property and I'll show it to them. And then they'll say, oh gosh, I wish this kitchen was bigger, or the master or something. So what does it take to take down a wall, or what's the process for a buyer when they want to do some changes to a home?
So taking down a wall is not difficult, right? That's among the easier things to do. If that's all you're doing, an interior wall, you're not really modifying the exterior of the building, you might be able to pull practically an over-the-counter permit for that.
Wow.
So you might not even need an architect for that. That might be something where just an interior designer and a draftsperson could take care of that situation. So that might be 3 months, right?
Got it.
But then the time kind of creeps up as soon as we are starting with a major addition or a major remodel. Anytime you're moving doors and windows or really adding square footage, the time goes up significantly, especially in the South Bay cities. So PVE, Rolling Hills Estates, even County of Los Angeles, minimum is 6 months and possibly up to a year between design time and going through all of the permitting that's required.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so is it best for us as a buyer and I want to do a remodel to bring you to the property first, or do I show you other pictures of what I want?
So we offer a service called pre-design, where during the inspection contingency period of escrow, we'll show up and we'll offer, number one, architectural advice, or we will research to see if you can do what you want to do. Just the other day, I had a client where they wanted to add on top of their garage, and basically they said, "Can we do this?" And we said, "I don't know. We need a survey." They weren't in escrow, right? But basically, they need. I said, "You need a survey because, you know, in Palos Verdes estates, you have a limit not only on height. That's a hard limit." You have a soft limit at the Planning Commission with what they may or may not say is okay. In order to give a good judgment, we need to have more information.
Typically, they did not allow building over the garage in Palos Verdes estates in the old plans, but now there's a whole new word out there that everyone's really keen on. It's called ADU.
ADU, absolutely.
And it's totally wiped out all of our old things. I mean, how do you manage that, and is it feasible, and do you see that a lot right now?
We're doing a ton of ADUs, and ADUs are accessory dwelling units, right? So basically, it's an extra unit on your property, and we're designing a ton of them at the moment.
In Palos Verdes estates or all the cities?
All over the South Bay, right? And I would say PVE, we are doing some. So we have a few there, but it's a different need. Anytime we're doing an extra dwelling unit in PVE, it's really because they want the additional space for like a pool cabana or just for an office or something like that, not because they plan on renting it out. That's just typically what I've seen.
When you do the ADU, does it have to be complete for a mini kitchen and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff?
it has to have a complete kitchen, has to have a bathroom, and at a minimum a space for one bed, and basically an open studio would be the minimum. But you get bonus square footage if you create a 2-bedroom.
Wow, interesting. And those square footages, I thought they were like 800 or 1200.
You got it. Those are the 2 square footages.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, cool. So let's go back to the bigger project. We sold a home, and they really want to vault stuff, and they want to just go nuts and make a home like under the city characteristics. In Palos Verdes estates, you can build on 30% of your lot size unless you're designated in a 2-story area where you could add 1750 feet above that second story. Then there's a whole nother level, right, where you can actually dig under the property.
You can. So you can have basement, which is absolutely allowed, and that's bonus square footage depending on how you calculate it, right? So you have your maximum floor area ratio, which you have to abide by even in the basement. But if the basement is not habitable, meaning if it's less than 7 feet tall, then you can have unlimited basement. And a lot of people
Is it then
are doing
considered
that.
storage?
It's considered uninhabitable, right? So what a lot of people are doing is they're using it for storage. That's how they're using that space.
What other things do you think a buyer should be aware of or think about in terms of architecture?
So I think the thing that affects the cost the absolute most that people aren't typically anticipating are soils, right? What are the soils composed of, especially on the hill? Is it pure silt? Is it, are we straight on bedrock? Is it on sand? And the reason is because it can seriously affect the foundation type that's required. Your standard foundation, I mean, let's say you're gonna spend $100,000 on a standard foundation and that's what you're expecting. But it turns out that bedrock is 120 feet down. And this is literally what happened in one of our projects.
That's deep though, isn't it?
So we had to have 120-foot caissons. That's 12 stories of caissons underneath a single-family residence. $2.5 million straight into the earth. Now, fortunately, we actually had the chance to talk to our clients during escrow, and we told them this, right? And they said, okay, I don't care, I want to buy it anyway, and they went for it, right? So they understood it, but imagine if they had discovered that after they'd already made the purchase. It would have been a tough thing to digest.
Where was that property located? Generally.
Well, I can tell you, it's on Rocky Point.
Yeah. So that's and so it was on the cliff.
It's right on the cliff.
Yeah. Is that the guy that combined 2 lots?
No,
Okay.
single one lot.
Wow. I mean, those are some incredible homes, but that's wise. And if you putting a pool there is also another whole big big project to keep the cliff from sliding. So
No question. I mean, you can have the same amount of caissons for a pool as you do for half the house.
So you mentioned the escrow inspection. Is there a cost associated with that?
So, yep. So we do charge, and basically we do hourly is typically how we handle pre-design, right? We charge based on an hourly rate. But if it's an easily definable process that we're about to go through, then we can call a flat fee.
I love it. I think that's a really good idea when you find a home that may check some of your boxes, but not all of them, and you want to really figure out, can I do the whole thing? Because scope of project is a big deal, like you said, changing costs and all those other costs that you mentioned. Those are things that I wasn't necessarily aware of. So that's really valuable. How would someone find you?
Well, I suppose they could go to our website at calarchitect.com. That's probably the best way, calarchitect.com.
That makes sense. Or you can get a hold of me and I'd be happy to refer them out.
And there's that too.
Either which way, this was incredibly entertaining and also very informative. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
For more information, give me a call. Happy to help you out. Make it a great day.